I'm Chandler Morrison, and this is PLAYOFF-OLOGY. We actually got through that. John?
I'm John Boston, and this is my show.
Welcome into PLAYOFF-OLOGY. I'm Chandler Morrison, and our ne'er-do-well kidnapper, John Boston, is over there. This is not John's show. We had a long conversation off screen.
It felt nice for the 3 seconds.
The 3 seconds it lasted. Oh, Lord. Anyway, this is PLAYOFF-OLOGY, and this has all been leading up, by the way, to our bracket challenge. We haven't really mentioned it in the show because we were kind of trying to figure out if we were going to do it or not. Well, we are going to do it. I probably got my hair messed up where John is like trying to kidnap me now. So if I don't look that good, you know, don't take it personally. I had a situation happen. But let's talk about our bracket challenge real quick. I want to go into that because I believe our bracket challenge, it's a fun thing to do, John. I mean, we had a lot of people participate last year, not just from the Chattanooga area, but all over the state. Yeah,
we did, and I felt like we were on some type of ESPN app, you know.
Yeah, it's built a lot like the bracket challenge you have with March Madness and stuff like that. It's just through a different, you know, it's not directly through us. It's through another thing called Challenge. So I'm going to go ahead and show you this. We're going to pull up my phone on the screen. All my lovely apps here. I don't know what half of them are. If anybody out there are like me, then you know the struggle. So basically what you're going to do is you're going to go to SETM Preps. I go there a lot, so there it is right there at the top. You go to SETM Preps, and you go to Bracket Challenge. Okay, you click on that, and what you're going to notice is you have all these challenges here: 1A, 2A, 3A, 4A, 5A, 6A, Division II AA. We're not doing a Division II Single A this year because of Grace not being in there, because we just do our area. But this is, by the way, this is not just our area brackets. This is for the entire state. So this is a situation where, this is a situation where it's the entire brackets. We're just not doing the Division II AA because I'm not interested in it, John. I didn't want to really do it because Grace wasn't in it, so I didn't feel like we should.
Yeah.
And by the way, I will note this: Division II AAA bracket. If you try to do it this week, you won't find anything there because they're still trying to get those things sorted out.
The West region's still playing.
Yeah, there's things that could still happen because they have another week of games. So let's go ahead and do this. I'm going to go to the 4A bracket, John. If you can see right here, I'm not signed in. Okay, You can log in if you got an account. If you used one last year, I would recommend using it again, because then we can kind of keep track of you a little bit. You're going to go down here and you're going to hit Create a Prediction, okay? When you hit Create a Prediction, now I wanted to open a new tab, but you hit Create a Prediction, it's going to open this up. Now on your phone, it's a little bit harder to do. You kind of have to double tap it. So I'm just going to go through here and just randomly pick. I'm not going to really put anything on it. And John, tell them about the rules while I'm picking these out right now.
Yeah, Chandler, you know, if you played last year and if you can remember the rules, it's pretty much the same as last year.
And by the way, if you're watching my screen right here, you can see when I have trouble, if you go on the left side and kind of move it up and down, you can move the whole thing, because if not, sometimes you can get stuck right there and then be like that right there. So if you go on the side of the screen, you can actually get past it. It actually works. Go ahead, John.
Each pick is worth points. Each round, those points are doubled. So the first round, you get the pick right, you get 1. Second round, you get the pick right, you get 2, so forth. And then the fourth round, you get 4. You know, keep going.
Yeah.
Of course, the winner will be the person who accumulates the most points. I think the highest score is 80.
Yeah, so it's on a single bracket too. So if I go through and my 4A bracket gets a full 80 points, if I just have a perfect 80 point bracket, we're going by the most points on a single bracket. So it could be, you know, we could have someone that fills out a 1A bracket, a 2A bracket, a 4A bracket, a Division II bracket. They could get all those points. I think the Division II brackets, they have significantly less points. We don't really count those, but any of the public schools, it could be from any of the public schools, really, John. It just depends on who gets lucky at the right time and who has the best bracket so far. So right now, as you can see on my screen right here, I've got it filled out right now. I've got Elizabethton and Springfield there in the championship. Now, when I get done with that, I scroll down here, and sometimes you have to go on the side over here. I pick my tournament winner. It's going to pick up Pick Elizabethton, all right? You go to prediction title, so you can name this anything you want to name this. You can. I'm going to name it the champ because I think this is the champ bracket. I really don't because this is a random bracket. Then you put in your email address. That's just so Challenge can keep track of your – it doesn't take any information from you. It doesn't spam your email box. All it does, it's kind of like with ESPN, it just lets you keep track of your brackets, lets you sign in and see how your brackets are doing. So I'm going to put mine in right here. Feel free to email me at this because I, don't get a lot of emails. I usually go through text, but whatever. Country Unlimited account, that's not it. Gmail.com. All right, and then you go down here. You'll hit submit. Now, sometimes Challenge is a little tricky because they've updated their security service and all this other things. So you're going to see a white screen like this. All right, all you do, hit that again, press go, hit continue. If you're on an iPhone, it'll usually let you do this pretty easily. And then all of a sudden it'll tell you, and if you don't see this little blue square right here, in the middle, beware, okay? Because that means your bracket might not have gone through. It'll also give you prediction links so you can see yours, how you did, you can go back to it, whatever. But the cool thing I like about this is if you scroll up and you hit this little button right here called predictions, all right? If you open that up, you can see how everybody's doing. Now, it shows just mine right now because I just put mine in and no one else has participated yet. So we just opened this up literally before we started the show. You can go in and you can hit, you can see everybody's. You can see whoever's underlines who they got winning, and you can see their final four here. You can see all those kind of things. You can see where you rank, where everybody else ranks, what your score is, what your score potential. Sometimes you get to a point late and it's like you can't get 80 points, but you can get 30 points because your bracket was just so awful. I know me and John have both felt that. It shows you how many picks you've got, how many picks you still have left, all those kind of things. So listen, this is going to be a fun thing. It lets you keep up with it. Lets you keep up with the leaderboard. It lets us keep up with you too. And listen, we got a pretty good prize this year. I think the winner might actually get like a gift card possibly. So we're actually going to throw some money in the pot this year. I know that. I know I am. I don't care if you're Chris or not. I'm going to throw some money in the pot for y'all. But whoever is the champ does get some kind of prize here. So
I got a $5 Wendy's gift card we can try.
You'll get whatever I give you and a $5 Wendy's gift card. I think y'all will treasure that $5 Wendy's gift card more than I will. But there you go. There's the bracket challenge. You can see all that on Challenge. I think it's a great thing, John. I think it's going to go well this year. It went well last year. We had people from all over the state. So get your bracket in on Bracket Challenge, okay? Now that those brackets are in, go after them, get them in, and listen, fill out all the brackets you can. And John, I think you got something about you can have multiple accounts. You can have multiple brackets, but you have to have multiple accounts. You can only fill out one bracket per account per challenge. So you can only fill out one bracket in 1A, 2A, 3A, 4A, 5A, 6A, in Division 2, whatever. You can only fill out one of those brackets per account. So if you want to fill out another one, you have to do another account, but we will only do tiebreakers based on the account that is in question. So there are a lot of tiebreakers here. If you want more about that, go to our site. We're not going to get into the big details of the tiebreakers and all that, but we do have tiebreakers in place in case there is a tie, because with 80 points, there's bound to be a tie, and a lot of people think the same. So just go on our website. You'll find all the information there. And if you go, like I said, you go to the website, go to sectnpreps.com. It's right there on the front page. You hit it, and all of a sudden, now you're doing the bracket challenge. See if you can beat me, John, and Chris in the bracket challenge. John, anything else in the bracket challenge?
Did you go over the bye?
Oh, yes. I wanted to make sure that and this is something to know, and you'll see this on our site too, if there is a bye, and there are a lot of byes this year, not just in Division 2, but all across the bracket, because the Memphis schools basically never got on the field this year to play football. That's something we'll talk about later. If there is a bye in your bracket, you have to pick the other team. If you pick the bye, that you will lose points for that pick.
Or if you don't pick.
So you will lose points if you don't pick. So if there's a bye in another team in that matchup, pick the other team, because if you don't, you will lose points. We say that to everybody, and you think we're crazy that people don't know how to do this, but we've had plenty of people that have just, screwed it up. Basically, and they had really good brackets going into it. If they would have just done the right thing to start with, they could have even won the bracket challenge last year. But anyways, that's the bracket challenge. This is why we do what we do here at the Playoff-ology, to get you ready for the bracket challenge, to get you ready for all that's going on. So anything else on the bracket challenge before we move on?
I don't think so. Just did you go over the COVID? If a team can't after.
One more thing. I keep forgetting things. John, this is why John's here.
Just want to get paid nothing.
You get paid nothing. if there is a COVID loss, like we already have two situations in our area now where a team has advanced already to the second round because of a COVID situation.
And one's already not
Every
able to
team
play.
is the way we see this. Every team is as likely to get COVID as the next.
Mm-hmm.
So if a team gets COVID and they are canceled out, that is going to be taken into account because you're still going to get points for every matchup you make and blah 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 or whatever. So if you have a championship team and they happen to get COVID, I'm sorry, but that's how the bracket challenge goes. I mean, if it were the March Madness and Duke loses in the second round, I mean, you got to live with that. So I mean, you know, COVID's COVID. You know,
we've been talking about doing like a second chance bracket where we can bring it up in the quarterfinals. Maybe that'll happen.
Yeah, I think we might do a quarterfinal second chance bracket because I think after the first two
But
rounds.
no gift card for that.
I think the first two rounds are where most of the slip-ups are. It's not usually late because we know who the players are going to be late. But anyways, that's our bracket challenge. Let's get into the actual brackets that we're going to be looking at, okay? John, are you ready for this?
I reckon.
All right. So let's look right now at – you just slid across the screen there. It looked pretty cool, John. I'm not going to lie.
I'm always cool.
You're okay. Hold your horses there, little doggy. All right, so let's look at Class 1A. No real change here. Nothing really to turn your head at. When we're looking at our area, we're looking at South Pittsburg, the 1 seed, Copper Basin, the 2 seed, Sale Creek, the 3 seed, and Whitwell, the 4 seed. Have we heard anything on Copper Basin?
As of 8:35 Central Time, no.
As of what?
8:35 Central Time.
I don't know about that. I think it's. Oh yeah, it is 8:35. My phone just moved over. I don't know why. Anyways,
Because we're on the edge.
I guess I don't know. 8:35. Yeah, it's 8:35 on my computer here. So 8:35 on Monday. Copper Basin is still playing. I know they had the situation with.
Which I don't think they had a COVID case. I mean, I think they were in contact.
I think a lot of teams are calling it a COVID issue.
Yeah.
And that's something that I'm really not fond of because then that gives you the leeway to say, we have a COVID issue. I really don't want to play this team, or I don't want to get blown out by 60. I want to play in a
I don't want to travel 2 hours. And
I'm not saying anybody's done that. I'm not saying anybody's going to do that. I'm just saying, to me, it gives you the opportunity to say, oh, I've got a COVID issue. I don't really want to get my kids blown out by 60. I want to keep their motivation up. I want to end the season on a high note. And I'm sure there are coaches that might feel that way. You know, I don't know. I'm sure there's not, but that's the situation you're rolling into. All right, so let's look at this real quick. South Pittsburg, if you're doing the bracket challenge, I think the 4 easy picks here are the high seeds. Well, actually, I don't, except for Copper Basin. I think Clay County will beat Copper Basin. Copper Basin's like their third QB.
yeah, they definitely taken a hit on the quarterback position. And you know, one player doesn't make a team, but losing Bryson Grabowski,
Yep.
that is a huge blow to that Copper Basin
It
team.
really is. And I'll tell you this: if you can go chalk on everything here, pretty much. Sale Creek Monterey, I'm actually kind of. I want to see what Sale Creek can do. I don't think they'll win that game. I think they might be able to keep that game close.
Look at what I mean. I know this
Look at what
last
Whitwell
year.
did last
Yeah,
year.
that's what I was going to say.
And Sale
Yeah.
Creek is on a roll more than Whitwell was last year. They're at a similar level. I think Monterey maybe they took their cheeky loss last year and they say, you know what, we're past this now. I don't know. I mean, that could be the situation. It might not be. I don't know. Maybe they're still there. I think Monterey has been too inconsistent in the playoffs over the however long they've been in the PLAYOFF-OLOGY.
That's one to keep your eye on.
They just want to keep your eye on. That could be a possibility. So if you're looking for a bracket-busting game, Sale Creek Monterey, I think that's your bracket-busting game in 1A. Copper Basin, I think they're going to lose to Clay County. I think you can go chalk everybody here except for Copper Basin. And really, it's chalk when you think about the fact that Copper Basin is down to their third quarterback, and they might not even play this game at all, depending on how the COVID issue is. I don't know the COVID issue there in depth. So any other comments on this one, John?
No, I only got one thing. I told you this before. Going up to Region 1, Region 2. How do you feel about an 0-8 team making the playoffs?
Golly, I hate it, and I don't think it should. Now, we will talk about – I think we'll talk about this at some point later on. How do you fix the playoffs? I don't know that we need to do it in the midst of the playoffs because everybody's excited about the playoffs, but I think we do need to have a show at some point. Maybe it's an off-season playoff-ology show where we talk about what is the best way to do this, because I don't think an 0-8 team, 0-9 team – now, this is 2020, but this is by far not a 2020 oddity. It's happened plenty of times in the past few years where a winless team has made the playoffs.
Mm-hmm. That's not one of them regions where they only have 4 teams? I don't.
It is.
Are you sure?
I'm sure. I am positive because every time you pull up the NCAA standings, the first one to pop up is that region, and there's 4 teams in that region. But it still shouldn't happen.
No.
You know, and you shouldn't have 4 teams in a region to begin with. It should at least be 5 teams, if not way more than 5 teams. 6 or 7 teams, really.
It depends. I don't care having 4 teams in a region, but
I don't think we need 4 teams in the playoffs from a region.
No.
That's my big.
No, but we'll go with that because I've had mine filled out 4 weeks ago.
Now, used to 1A and 2A, they had their buys.
Yeah.
They didn't have a full 32-team bracket or whatever.
Yeah.
They had their buys, and I really liked that because it cut down on these, for lack of a better term, crappy teams in 1A that made the playoffs, and they get blown out by 60. It really cut down on that, and it gave that other team a bye. And I don't know how a lot of coaches feel about buys, but I think buys need to be implemented in this system across the board because I think there are teams even in 5A and 6A that just get blown out by 60 in the first round. You know what I mean?
Man, that's another week of your boys, that could have been resting.
Yeah.
That have played at least two quarters of football.
I think the pushback on that is going to be the coaches that
it's practice
that don't want to lose out on practice. That are building a program that don't want to lose out on practice that week. They would rather get blown out by 60 and have another week of practice than to not have that week of practice. And I would give those teams the option to, if they are a 3 or a 4 seed and they're eligible for a bowl game, have a bowl game later and then have 2 or 3 weeks that you can practice there.
Yeah,
instead of having bowl week game 1. That way you have as much of games. I've got all kinds of things for this. Let's get on.
I can't wait till that segment.
I can't wait till we get to that. I don't know that we're going to do that segment today, but we are going to do an episode where we just map this out because I think me and John are both interested in this, and we want to take John. I think we should do it and then send that video to Bernard Childers at the NCAA and say, hey, we need to implement this.
Let's do it.
All right, that's Class 1A. John, do you see anybody beating South Pittsburg in this pod right here?
Sorry, I went on to 2A.
No, you're fine. You got Joe Burns, Monterey, Clay County, Gordonsville. I don't think anybody in South Pittsburg region is going to beat them. Gordonsville, do you think they stand a chance against South Pittsburg?
If they hold them within 3 touchdowns, I'll be surprised.
Okay. If you're looking for your team to go to the semifinals from this pod, South Pittsburg. Easily. All right, let's go to Class 2A. Let's go ahead and talk about this. I don't know if it's actually on the NCAA bracket or not about Meigs County, but we do know, I think it was Meigs County's opponent had COVID. Cosby. They had COVID. You can see that on our bracket here. I've moved over, and the Meigs County will play the winner of Hampton Oneida. They will not play Cosby this week. They'll get an extra week of practice here in another bye week. I wonder how that will fare for them and keeping them healthy. I think that actually helps them more than it hurts them.
We're going to see. We were talking about – sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you, but we're talking about bye weeks. We're fixing to see how Meigs County handles it. So this might be a good opportunity to see.
We'll see whether Jason Fitzgerald is going to be a big pusher for this or a big no. I don't want to see this happen.
Yeah,
we're going to see because if they flop out and don't do so well in the second round, that might be an issue for him.
We'll learn a lot.
What's that?
We'll learn a lot.
We'll learn a lot for this. But anyways, John, I look at this bracket. I'm looking at the regions 1 and 2 right now. Meigs County. I don't think there's anybody on that side of the bracket that's really going to compete with them.
No. In their region,
I don't think Oneida really would have a chance with them.
I think when they get to South Green, South Green could that would be the team that stands in their way.
That would be the team that if someone's going to get in their way in that pod, they would get in their way.
Yes.
I still don't think it'll be a close game.
You don't think so?
I don't. I think it might be a closer game than a lot of their other games this season.
Yeah.
But I don't think it'll be a close game. Let's go ahead and go on to 3 and 4. Regions 3 and 4 in Class 2A. BLEDSOE County's the 1 seed on this side. Watertown the 1 seed on this side. I'm not so sure BLEDSOE County gets to face the 1 seed on the other side. Because you've got Trousdale you have to go through. Because I think they're gonna romp Tyner here. I think everything in here is chalk first round. I think Marion County wins. I think Trousdale wins. I think BLEDSOE County wins. I think Watertown wins easily. I think Marion County wins a lot easier than a lot of people are going to expect. I think this is going to be, they're going to score 50 points on Westmoreland. I really do. Because you see that score against them in Ray County and how they beat Ray County at Ray County.
A 5A school.
A 5A, not just a 5A school, an excellent 5A school. We'll talk about them and their chances of getting in here later on in the show. But here's the thing I look at when I'm looking at this. Chalk first round. After the first round, I don't know where this is going to go. Because you have BLEDSOE, Trousdale, Marion, Watertown. I'm not so sure Marion is not going to be, I'm not so sure Marion's not going to hold Watertown a little bit more than they're expected. I think Watertown's good. I think Marion's going to give them a fight, a really good fight. And I've been kind of anti-Marion County here this year because I don't know what the expectation. I know the expectations are probably higher than they should be, but I'm actually looking at this and thinking if Marion County gets to the second round and they blow out Westmoreland and they play Watertown here, I'm not saying they win this game, but I think it's a really close game, and I think it's one of those games that gives you motivation for your program and maybe sends them on a slingshot next year in the playoffs. On the other end of this, I think there's a two ways to look at this. I don't think BLEDSOE County is getting past the second round. You got to play Trousdale, and unless Tyner upsets Trousdale, and I don't see that happening, I don't see BLEDSOE County getting past the first round.
Second round.
The second round. I could potentially see a 2-seed in Marion and a 2-seed in Trousdale being in our quarterfinals.
Mm-hmm. I've told you all along, there's one team that's going to surprise us in that particular region, it's going to be Marion County.
Yeah.
And I think where they play, if they can, I feel like they've been getting better. And
they didn't. I think what helped them is I feel like BLEDSOE County has peaked already.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like they have hit their peak, and that's not a good thing when you've hit your peak before the playoffs because you need to hit your peak in the midst of the playoffs.
About week 8, week 9.
Week 8, week 9. Marion County, they didn't have a spring practice implementing a new offensive system. Now, BLEDSOE County, they already had their offensive system. They just had to plug in new players. Marion County had to plug in. It's like Chris talked about yesterday or Monday on the podcast. You can go back and listen to that on the SCTM Press Podcast Network. We talked about the fact that Marion County, golly, John, they didn't have spring practice. They had to implement their stuff. They're getting spring stuff done at the end of August when they're trying to start football. And all of a sudden you turn around and they're peaking right here at the end of the season, beating a 5A team in their first year of being there at Del Pruitt. I think Del Pruitt's going to surprise people. And, John, I hate to say this because it means not that I hate to see Marion County do good. I love to see Marion County do good. But I think when you take a step and look back at this, Marion County, if they get past Watertown, I'm not so sure anybody else can stop them. Mex County is going to be the only one between them and possibly a state championship if they get past Watertown. Now, it's going to be a tough chance to get past Watertown. That's going to be a tough game, and I'm not so sure they're up for the challenge yet. But if they are up to the challenge for that Watertown game, you better be looking at the state championship game if they beat that game. Because, Watertown's the team that usually gets to the state championship. Trousdale County, those kind of teams. So, if they can beat Watertown, they can beat anybody, I think. That's my opinion.
Yeah, and, looking at their schedule back here, one of their losses was to South Pittsburg. They probably wouldn't have won that game then. Mm-hmm. But they, of course, had a forfeit, so there's a loss. They took almost a month off, had to play BLEDSOE County, lost that game.
After having a month off, this is not a month off. Hey, we had a month. This was
being
COVID.
Able to practice.
This was like a COVID.
They
for
couldn't
2
come
weeks.
around the field house.
They couldn't practice. They couldn't do anything. And that's the big thing about this. Go ahead, John.
And they ended up losing to Silverdale 2 weeks ago
in
overtime, which is a Division II school.
Yeah, Silverdale. They're in the playoffs in Division II. I don't know if they're going to make a push, but Silverdale is definitely up and up, more up than we thought they were. Less up than we thought they were going to be, but still on a pretty good trajectory, John.
Yeah,
Silverdale is.
Like I think you mentioned it last week, they're taking baby steps to becoming a better program.
Yeah. Anything else on this bracket? By the way, John, who do you have in your quarterfinals right now? You have your Trousdale and Watertown, or do you have BLEDSOE in the quarterfinals?
I'm going to have to go. It's tough. It
is tough.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, I want to see BLEDSOE County do
do
well.
too.
I just think Trousdale and Watertown back-to-back weeks are just going to be tough. Congrats to them on their undefeated season, by the way.
Yeah, BLEDSOE, looking at the Polk County game, they did not play well at all. But they came back against Tellico Plains, and they had a good showing.
Yeah.
So, maybe BLEDSOE County is kind of peaking again.
Mm-hmm.
I think we could see BLEDSOE County and Watertown, or I think it's going to be one of those. It's going to be BLEDSOE County, Watertown, or it's going to be Marion County, Trousdale County. Because
I think you're right. I don't think it's going to be one of the other. I think everybody that's around the state is looking at this as Trousdale, Watertown in the quarterfinals. I'm not so sure. I think it's either. I think the way this works out is either BLEDSOE County and Watertown, or it's Marion, Trousdale. I mean, it could go either way. To me. Anything else on this before we move on?
That one was that bracket's tough.
That one's I think it's the toughest one. It's the toughest one so far. I don't know if it'll be the toughest one we do, but it's the toughest one so far. All right. Let's go to 3A real quick. Let's look at this real quick. Red Bank, by the way, congrats to Red Bank. The football gods were raining down on Red Bank because Brainerd had to lose to a bottom feeder team in their region in Central. Love Derek Davis there, but this year they have been at the bottom of that region. Only lost of the season from Men's Central. It's against Brainerd.
I feel like they've showed.
I feel like they've shown strides. Yeah,
here, the last part of the season. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, you're good. I thought you were about to go on this whole soapbox rant. That's all good.
I'm just.
Anyways, Red Bank gets the number 1 seed. The only way that Red Bank even gets a home playoff game, John, is if if Brainerd loses that game. And Brainerd lost that game Thursday. They win against Loudon Friday. Within a span of 24 hours, John, they go from 3rd to 1st. And, I mean, that was a huge jump. They go from not having a home playoff game to, hey, 4th seed from that other region. Y'all come over here and play because, we got something going on. So let's talk about this. They get Grundy County. I just don't see that being a contest. Upperman gets Signal Mountain. I think that one could be an interesting one. I know I said Sweetwater could be an interesting one. I think Signal Mountain Upperman is more interesting to me.
I went 0-2 this week, Chandler. I had Lookout Valley and I had Sweetwater, and I guess it's my fault. You can blame it on me. I'll take it.
Now I went Sweetwater too. I did. I had Whitwell in the other one, but I had Sweetwater. I really, really did.
I guess their media team didn't pull them out.
Yeah, I know. Maybe we jinxed them. I'm sorry. Sorry to the Sweetwater media team.
This time
next year. We'll clip this out on Twitter. We'll put it out there. Sorry to the Sweetwater media team. We probably jinxed you going into the last week of your season. We probably ended your season prematurely. We are so, so sorry. Anyways, let's talk about this bracket. Brainerd plays Smith County. That's going to be a good game. Brainerd's going to be on the road. They haven't fared so well on the road this year. But I think they're very well matched with Smith County. That's going to be a good game. Loudon York, I don't think Loudon is going to know what to expect with York. York is a very up and down team. I think they're very down this year, but they're still up and down. You never know what to expect from York. We know that, being from Sequatchie County, that you could get a team that'll match you score for score, or a team that just lays down flat.
York will always play up with their competition.
They will. They play to their competition. They played a close game. Did they play a close game with Upperman this year?
They did.
They played a close game with Upperman.
I think it came down to like a touchdown, maybe.
It came down to a touchdown. And I want you to remember this. This is the 1 seed. They played within a touchdown.
And they were 3-17.
And Grundy County, the 4 seed, they didn't even score. Nobody scored a touchdown in that game. It was a 6-3 game. I mean, it was crazy. But I think this is an interesting bracket. Red Bank Grundy, I'm not interested in. I think every other matchup on here, John, I still think it's chalk. But I think every other matchup on here, except for maybe Brainerd Smith, I think Brainerd could beat Smith if it came down to it. I think every other thing is chalk on here. I mean, I want to talk about this. I don't think Upperman Loudon, I think that would be a good game. That's probably what you're going to get in the second round.
I don't know. I think
Loudon might beat them, but I think it'll be a closer game. Can you imagine what if Loudon? Here's the thing to me. I think Loudon is on the same level as Upperman. I think Red Bank's above both of them. So I think that's a good game. I think the winner of that is not going to look forward to getting Red Bank in the quarterfinals. That's just me.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're looking at this, you're talking about playoffology. If you're going to pick this for your bracket challenge, I think Red Bank is a shoe-in for the quarterfinal. And I think it's going to be interesting because we're finally going to get that Brainerd-Red Bank matchup. I think Red Bank's a much better team. Could Brainerd pull off the upset and end up in the quarterfinals? Because I think if they beat Smith, they can get to the quarterfinals. They have a real solid shot of getting there. So if you're going there, I think Red Bank's a shoe-in for the quarterfinals. I think Loudon's a shoe-in for the quarterfinals. I think you're going to see another matchup between Red Bank and Loudon. I don't think it's going to be Upperman in the quarterfinals. I think Loudon will beat Upperman. I think it's going to be a closer game than we expect. So any other thing on this before we move on, John?
No, I think I'm going to agree with you. I think we're going to see Red Bank Brainerd, Upperman Loudon, and then we're going to see that Red Bank Loudon matchup.
How much does this change if York beats Loudon somehow, some way? Because I don't think they get to the quarterfinals at that point.
I think Red Bank's a shoe-in
for the semifinals. At that
point. For the semifinals.
Because I think if they're having to come down to Loudon, it might be a tough game. Because when you have a close game,
I wouldn't be surprised if York beat Upperman the week after.
If they can beat Loudon, they can beat Upperman. I mean,
because it was a 26-21 game.
Am I saying that York is going to run the table here? No, I'm not saying that. I don't think they're going to win the first game.
That's going to be,
But we've seen crazier things in 4-3-A.
If you the March Madness, what was it, 2-3 years ago, where that small Division II team with that older lady that they beat Tennessee.
Oh yeah. It was out of
Sister
Chicago.
Jean.
Was it St. Mary's or something?
No. Her name was Sister Jean.
Loyola.
Yeah, Chicago Loyola.
Chicago Loyola, yeah.
And they pretty much, what did they get to, Sweet 16 or Elite 8 or Final 4?
Or something, yeah.
It was at least Elite 8.
That would be York this year.
Yeah, I can see that. They need Sister Jean.
I want to see them put that dragon on a trailer and take it to wherever they have to go because they're going to be on the road the entire playoffs.
They need it breathes fire too.
There's going to be issues with there's somebody. They're going to put it out on the road close to that stadium. Because they won't let them bring it into the parking lot or into the stadium. And
they're going to be at the McDonald's parking lot.
All the people coming in for the bar at 3 a.m. see that thing. We don't take ourselves too seriously on playoffology here. Anyways, I think that's what you're going to see is a Red Bank Loudon matchup. I don't think Upperman's going to get to the quarterfinals. If they do, Red Bank's going to romp them. I think Red Bank is the team. If you want to pick one team from this pod, pick Red Bank. Bracketology, this is what I'm telling you. Playoffology, do your bracket challenge.
Before we move on, what percentage do you give Alcoa on not making it to the championship game?
They have about as much. It's kind of weird this year because Alcoa has about as much chance as anybody else of catching COVID. And so it kind of levels the playing field a little bit. Are we going to get lucky this year? And Alcoa's, I'm not going to say lucky because that's an awful thing to say, but are other teams going to get lucky and maybe Alcoa gets in that situation where they have one positive test and hopefully that kid recovers and hopefully there's no harm done there. But if there's a kid from Alcoa that catches it or a kid from Maryville that catches it, how much does that change the whole complexity of the playoffs in the state? Because now it's no longer – I think it gives you even more motivation. If you get to the second round and all of a sudden Alcoa is out, how much harder does Red Bank play in the second round, in the quarterfinals? Because now they know they got to pick up whoever in the semifinals, and it's not Alcoa. And now the road to the state championship is finally open. Mm-hmm. That's what happens if you have that kind of situation. I don't think that'll happen.
All eyes will be on the 3A bracket. Then.
All eyes will be on the 3A bracket. Same thing with Maryville. If that were to happen to Maryville, all eyes will be on the Maryville bracket. And I also think a lot of these schools, I hate to say this, I think a lot of the schools in especially East Tennessee, Chattanooga area, Knoxville area, if there's a COVID case, I think they're going to keep it on the down low. And make sure that you're going to try their best to keep it on the down low. I'm not saying anybody's going to be shady, but we've seen it this year. I've heard of schools doing that. I'm not going to say what schools. I've heard of schools kind of keeping it on the down low and getting past this certain point, and I could see it happen in the playoffs, especially because it's no longer you lose 2 weeks of your season. It's you're done with your season and what could be a good season.
And look at what it did to Marion County. Lost 4 weeks there, and
they aren't getting it back. But I think it did help them a little bit. I think now they're kind of hitting their peak at the right time.
Yeah.
But that's about it. I mean, that's all we see here. But all right, let's go to the 4A bracket real quick. We already have a game that's decided here. Greenville and Howard. Howard had a COVID case, I believe. Was it a COVID case or COVID issue?
I just know COVID.
Anyways, they weren't able to play the game against Greenville. You can see that over here. So Greenville's going to play the winner of Anderson County Granger no matter what happens here because they're not going to have to play Howard this week. They get a week off and seeing that. I think it helps Greenville because they need all the help they can get against Elizabethton. Because, I mean, that's really what it's going to come down to. I don't see Anderson County getting to the quarterfinals. I think Anderson County is a really good team, and they're a better team than they've been. But I think that it's going to come down to Elizabethton, Greenville, and everybody else is just there for the kicks. I mean that's what this bracket is to me. When we get above 3A, a lot of times it feels like teams outside of our area just kind of run everything, especially the Knoxville area teams.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's what we see here. I think it's going to be Greenville, Elizabethton. Now Greenville is one step closer to beat. All they have to do is win one game, and Elizabethton, they've got East Ridge, East Hamilton they got to go through. Even if they play East Hamilton, which I don't even know if East Hamilton's going to get to the second round because the other region is so packed. And East Hamilton, I believe they lost this game last year, didn't they?
I think so, and I feel like
Same
East
team
Hamilton,
and everything.
Going back to peaking, I think East Hamilton peaked way too early.
I think they did too.
And we're starting to see that now. I'm not knocking them. I think they're a good team.
Yeah.
But they're just – I think they've lost 2 games that they've lost. I'm not counting the Anderson County game.
Well, and Grant Williams does a great job there, but I think it has nothing – I don't think it has anything to do with him. I think sometimes it has nothing to do with coaches a lot of times. And sometimes it has to do with the players just feeling themselves there, and they peak way too early before they. I think it's a good thing with a coach, a good trait of a coach. Not to say that Grant doesn't do this, but a good trait of a coach is to be able to get your kids to peak at the right time. That's a lot of what high school football is about, is getting them to peak at just the right time.
Mm-hmm. And we can't. We can't knock them for losing to Red Bank.
No.
And Anderson County, that's a toss-up. Shouldn't have lost the way they did, I don't think, to Anderson County. 43-14. They
shouldn't have lost the way they lost to Walker Valley, honestly.
No, they shouldn't have. That's why that's all 3 good. That's 3 quality losses.
Yeah.
But the way they
lost the last 2.
Last 2, not Red Bank, but the last 2. It kind of worries me going in the playoffs.
It does me too.
And they had
a whole lot.
Had the win last week against Howard, and
that was a COVID, right?
Yeah.
So now Howard's out again because it was Howard that had the COVID case, right? So now 2 weeks out, Howard they may have had a COVID case 2 or 3 weeks ago, and now they're out. Their season's over before it can even get started. Of course, I don't know how far it would have gone in the playoffs when you got Greenville in the first round. John, anything else on this? By the way, if you're picking, like I said, Elizabethton, Greenville, probably your locks for the quarterfinals there. Everybody else, I think, is pretty much chalk here, except for East Hamilton. Could they go to the second round? Yeah, I could see that, definitely. I just don't know if they're going to get past the second round.
Yeah,
to me.
I've got Region 1, taking all those.
Yeah.
I think the only one that could probably –
already 1-0.
Oh, yeah. I think Anderson County is the only one that we could see sneak in there.
Mm-hmm.
But I wouldn't be surprised if Granger snuck up there. And
I think Anderson County is too strong of a team to do that, but I also don't think they're strong enough a team to beat Greenville. I think Greenville would have to be really, really down for anybody else to be able to run that region to get to the quarterfinals. I really do. I don't know where Greenville's at. I just know that they lost to Elizabethton, so they're at the 2 seed. But let's go ahead and move on to 5A real quick. We tried to keep the show a little bit shorter tonight. I felt like we did a good job of that. We were planning on having a guest on tonight. We may try to do – I think this is going to be our last episode of Playoff-ology, just because playoffs are here. We want to get you on the bracket challenge. And honestly, Golly, it's a lot, ain't it, John?
Well,
We love you. We love to do it. We do it for y'all, but sometimes it gets to be a whole heck of a lot because every bracket we have to know in and out. But anyways, this will be our last week of bracketology, playoffology. Bracketology is copyrighted. I can't say that. Playoffology.
let's edit that out.
And we'll keep you updated on Facebook and on social media about the Division II 3A bracket. It's pretty much said. I think there's just one or two things that could happen with games this week that could potentially change it. We'll talk about that here in a minute.
What's the show for the class projections looking like?
We will. I think Playoffology is going to come back, and we're going to maybe even bring Chris on.
Let's do it.
I like it.
I like to
Talk
see
about
Will
the
come on here
classes,
too.
Talk about what we'd like to see the playoffs do. I think that's our next show. But as far as this playoff run, this is going to be our last show.
We're getting beat this week.
Yeah. I think we're going to talk about this. Probably in the postseason, we'll probably have a really good show, maybe a series of shows that I think will be really, really good. In 5A here, Knoxville West seems to be the one that's going to go farthest. Mm-hmm. I think Ray County actually has a really good shot of getting to the quarterfinals. They got Oak Ridge. I think Oak Ridge is honestly preferable to Powell because I think Powell is really should be the 2 seed, but they just happen to lose to Oak Ridge. I think Walker Valley is going to struggle against Powell. I don't think they're going to get to the second round. Let's see. Do we go chalk in the first round? Yes. I don't know. Yes. I think Walker Valley is the only reason you don't go chalk in the first round. I mean, do you see anything else that I don't see?
I see Ray County get beat. I want to. I'm not knocking other Chattanooga area teams, but I want to see Walker Valley get out of the first round.
I do too. I want to see Ray County get to the quarterfinals. Mm-hmm. I really do.
But I think once they get to Oak Ridge, I don't see them getting.
Yeah, I just don't. I mean, that's just how tough 5A is, and 5A is really wide open. So
they're in that division.
If you can get to the quarterfinals in 5A, you can get to the championship.
Yeah.
Any team good enough to get to the quarterfinals is good enough to get to the championship. That's honestly how open 5A is. There's not one of those dominant teams. There's not a Greenback, a Greenville, an Alcoa, a Maryville. There's not that in 5A. It's just everybody there. And that's because 5A teams move up so much, move down, all that kind of stuff. It's just so wide open, John.
Yeah, and, Region 4 there with Ray County, Saturdays, Walker Valley, and Lenoir, they're in a tough spot come playoffs against Knoxville West and Oak Ridge and Powell.
And I feel like when you have a 4-team region, it just doesn't make you as strong as you should be. Even if you had all the best 5A teams in a 4A region, I don't know that would make you the best team you could be.
And it's next year, McMinn County is coming down to 5A, which means they're going to come into probably Solid Daisy region.
I think Ooltewah's coming down to 5A too, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, but I think either Saudi or Ray County.
Saudi's going down.
Okay, Saudi's moving down, but Ray I think is staying.
By the way, we talked about this on the podcast the other day. Saudi, East Hamilton, Red Bank, 1, 2, and 3 in that region all day long. I want to see the battle for 4th place.
You think Solid Daisy will get 3rd?
I think they will.
Over Anderson?
I think we don't get
over Anderson County.
They are playing 5A talent there.
Over Anderson County.
Anderson County probably won't be in that region.
You think they'll move to the Knoxville area?
There'll be too many Chattanooga area teams.
Okay.
Anderson County used to be all up, but not.
There's a 4A team moving down to 3A, if I'm not mistaken. Speaking of which, how likely do you see Sequatchie County moving to the Chattanooga region for 3A?
I don't think they will. And I will say this, there's a lot of rural schools in our area that kind of face the same problem in the fact that, and I've talked to administrators all around the area about this, Sequatchie County is one of those schools like Grundy County. They thrive, or they don't survive, but they get a lot of their money for athletics from their gate money. And when you have a team like Red Bank or Howard that don't travel as well, I'm not saying they don't travel at all, they just don't travel as well as teams like Upperman, like DeKalb County, Smith, all those kind of schools. If you get to a point where do I want to go out to Middle Tennessee and have longer road trips but have more gate money when I actually am here, or do I want to go to play in the Chattanooga area region where people are not going to want to travel across the mountain. Because schools in the valley have put up with this for a long time, and I know this personally because I talked to a lot of administrators up and down the valley about how hard it is to get fans to come from Chattanooga over to the valley, unless it's like a big time game. And so I think the reason that you're going to see Sequatchie County try to stay out west or out middle is because you're going to see a lot more people at your games when you do have games at home, and that means more money, more ticket money. That's always been the reason. That was the reason they tried to get away from the Chattanooga area region when they did and kind of moved out west the last time it happened. That's what I was told anyways. But John, I think Knoxville West, I think Oak Ridge are your quarterfinals. I mean, if you're looking for that, it's chalk all the way down except for Walker Valley. Second round, I think it's Oak Ridge. I think it's Knoxville West. And I think everybody else on the outside looking in.
I agree.
I could even see Powell stepping in, maybe upsetting West. I could see it. I mean, it's not likely, but I could see it. I mean, that's how tough that region over there is. What is that, Region 3 over there? Yeah, I mean, it's tough. So, anything else on 5A before we move to 6A? All right, let's go through this real quick. Not a whole lot to talk about here. It's Maryville, and what's the other thing, John? Maryville. That's what it is. Maryville quarterfinals. I think McMinn County quarterfinals.
Okay.
I think they are at the point where
I think they learned.
Dobbins Bennett.
I think they learned from last year, losing the first round.
Yeah,
and I think they're, I think
the problem with McMinn County is they don't have any competition till week 10, and then once they have week 10, they have competition. Week 10, week 11, first round, second round, third round. It's like they don't have any competition all year, and all of a sudden they have it all thrust on them all at once. And I think that's their problem they come to.
Yeah, and watching that, McMahon and Bradley game last Friday.
Maryville did a number on McMinn County. They struggled that first half.
Yeah, they did, and I was like, oh man, But then McMinn County, I mean, they kept going, and they finally busted loose.
Jalen Hunt.
I'm telling you, if we had a Heisman, he'd be my front runner in the Chattanooga area.
If we had a Heisman chat, we need to get on that. We'll get Chris on that.
We'll call it instead of a Heisman, we'll call it a
go forth.
Yeah, let's call
Chris. No, he won't go for that.
A Theismann.
A Theismann.
Yeah.
There is actually a guy named Theismann.
I know,
but quarterback.
But
he got injured, John. That's not setting a good precedent.
Let me get a hold of Peyton Manning, and we
can get him to present it.
Yeah.
He's got Chattanooga ties. I think McMinn County, second round, maybe the quarterfinals. I think they've learned their lesson. Like I said, the stats tell me, the analytics tell me, if McMinn County gets to Maryville in the quarterfinals, McMinn County has a significantly greater chance of winning that game. That's what the analytics tell me about Maryville. If you can hold Maryville to under 30 points in a game in the regular season and then play them again in the playoffs, you can beat Maryville.
I think if McMinn,
that's something a lot of teams can't do.
No.
So.
I think if McMinn gets by Dobbins Bennett, I think you'll see them with a rematch with Maryville.
I don't see anybody on that side picking up Maryville. And
what do you think the Bradley game will turn out like this time? Do you think they'll beat Farragut?
I think they play Maryville again. I really do. I'm just not. I'm not confident in it. I don't know that I would pick Bradley Central in my bracket challenge.
First round.
Maybe. They might be out in one game. I don't know. I mean, that's just how tough that other region is out there. I mean, it used to be all those teams used to play Maryville, and they're like, thank the good Lord we don't have to play Maryville again. And all of a sudden they have to play them in the playoffs when it comes to them. So,
When it matters.
When it matters, yeah. Yep. Anything else on 6A?
No, I'm good.
Division II AA. CAK Boyd. I think Boyd is a significantly better team than they were at the beginning of the season. I think they were kind of like a crock pot. It takes a while for them to heat up. When they finally got heated up at the end of the season, boy, was it delicious to watch. Good analogy? No?
You got me interested.
Or you just hungry now?
I'm getting hungry.
I think that's what Boyd Buchanan is. I think they can beat CAK. I don't know that it'll happen. I think they can beat CAK. CAK has shown me flaws in the past 2 weeks.
CAK, I've noticed they start slow every week. Mm-hmm. You think
and
when
Boyd
we did
Buchanan doesn't let off the gas.
No.
In the past few games, Boyd Buchanan has gotten up and they said, listen, we're not letting off the gas. We know what it feels like to get out of the dumps there. I mean, that's what you're looking at. By the way, our Chattanooga area teams in this are Boyd Buchanan, Silverdale, and Chattanooga Christian. By the way, this year, 6 teams make the playoffs in the East region of Division II AA. They have not done that in the past. So, Boyd Buchanan, Silverdale, and Chattanooga Christian. I didn't, honestly, John, if a couple weeks ago, I would have told you that no team was going to make it past the second round if we had any teams from our Chattanooga area. Now, we had to have 1 or 2 teams from our Chattanooga area in the playoffs because we can only eliminate 1 from there. But if you had told me if you asked me a couple weeks ago, you said, hey, here's our matchups in the playoffs, anybody won't get past the first round? I'm going to say no one's getting past the first round. Chat Christian has already beat Knoxville Grace this year. Mm-hmm. Silverdale, they play CPA. That's going to be a tough one. I think CPA is good out of the middle. I think the middle region of Division II AA is always overrated, though. They're not having to play Lipscomb Academy this year. Boyd Buchanan's not, so that's going to help them out. Boyd Buchanan plays CAK. I think Boyd Buchanan is a better team. Out of our area teams, I think Silverdale might be the only one that doesn't go to the second round. And
yeah.
I'm not so sure that I don't know where CPA is this year. They're only the 2 seed out there. Mm-hmm. To me, I think Chat Christian can beat Knoxville Grace again. I think Boyd Buchanan can beat CAK. I think they could make a deep run here, both of them. I think they're both peaking kind of at the right time. They both had slow starts, but Chat Christian especially.
Yeah, I see it, but.
If you got to pencil, if you got to put somebody to the semifinals, who are you? Your bracket challenge. Who can you put in is a shoe in for the semifinals? I don't know what Good Pasture is going to do.
I see it coming down to CAK, Good Pasture, CPA, and Chattanooga Christian. Second round.
I think CPA and CAK are your 2 in the semifinals.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I've talked Boyd Buchanan up at the beat CAK. I don't know that they will. I think if anybody can, I think they're going to pull off. If someone could pull off a 6-1 upset, it would be Boyd Buchanan.
I think if there's a Chattanooga team to go the furthest, it should be Chattanooga Christian.
I think you're right. Because they have the best. I think they have the best route. They got Knoxville Grace. They've got CPA, who we don't know a whole lot about, and they may be really, really good. They may be the top team in the state. I don't know. But they're still the 2 seed, and I think Chattanooga Christian has a good chance against them. And then they're going to have to play CAK, which I think they would have a good – they've already played CAK, so, that actually helps them out a lot. So I think they could potentially be in a spot where they're in the semifinals.
Yeah, and I think if Chattanooga Christian can get that backfield turning, I think –
it's a 3-headed monster back there.
Oh, my gosh.
Yeah.
That's another finalist for my Peyton Manning award.
Peyton Manning.
I'm still working on the copyrights for that one.
You working on the copyright? You think he's going to give those copyrights up to his name?
We'll see what we can do.
I'm going to put some money at him.
Yeah.
Money we don't have.
I'll give him that $5 Wendy's gift card.
Wendy's gift card. Oh, Division II AA. I think you pencil in CAK CPA. I don't think you can put it in ink.
No, I'd make sure I write it in pencil.
Pencil, yeah, absolutely. Whew, this has been Playoffology, and I'm so excited to do Playoffology. I really am. I get excited about it during the week. I am exhausted right now, and I'll tell you why I'm exhausted right now. And I'm exhausted right now because we have to go, John, we have to go through every single one of these brackets, and we have to know it by heart. I mean, it's tough, and we do it for the fans. We do it for you. Go check out the Bracket Challenge. If you haven't seen the Bracket Challenge, go to setmpreps.com. You can find that. Go fill out a bracket. Get into it, and maybe you could win a $5 Wendy's gift card and a lot more. See, that's just the bottom of the barrel. It gets better.
Well, okay. What if one of us win?
We don't win. We don't win, John.
Okay. Well, I officially put in my resignation today.
John, so you say because you can't win your old $5 Wendy's gift card?
No, the other prize.
You don't even know what the other prize is. It's better than $5 Wendy's gift card. You know that.
You never turn down anything free.
Never turn down anything free. I'm Chandler Morrison. That dude over there, he's John Boston. This is our last Playoffology episode, as we've told you already. We will be back in the off season to talk about the classifications. I think we're going to bring Chris on to talk about that. Maybe some other guests from around the state. And two, we're going to talk about ways to fix the playoffs. Because I think the BLEDSOE can fix the playoffs and still keep a lot of money. And I think that's the big thing that they're going to look at is, can we still keep a lot of money? And BLEDSOE is going to say, how do we do it? Chandler, how do we do it? John, how do we do it? Well, we're going to tell the BLEDSOE how you do that and keep your money at the same time.
I think we're the first people that they think of when they come across this question.
Oh yeah, Bernard Childress, he's waiting for this episode to pop off, and he's, by the way, shout out to him. I guess, I don't know, maybe he's watching, maybe he's not, who knows? But this is I'm Chandler Morrison, that's John Boston. This has been Playoffology. Listen, if you like this show, go watch SCTM Preps, or go listen to the SCTM Preps podcast. Anywhere podcasts can be found. Spotify, Pandora, Apple Podcasts, TuneIn, iHeartRadio, and a slew of others. You can see the SCTM Preps podcast or watch or listen to the SCTM Preps podcast on there. Sorry, I'm exhausted. You can see any of that on there. You can watch some games here this Friday night. Golly, there's a lot of games to watch too, John. If you have an NFHS subscription, you can watch pretty much any game.
Mm-hmm. And
the playoffs even more so.
Yeah. I think the schools that are set up to do the NFHS,
they do a decent job. Most
they do.
of them.
And, Cleveland, I remember one year they were out of the playoffs, but they were part of the NFHS. They came over.
They have a really good broadcast program at Cleveland, and so they actually came over. I think this was the Alcoa year.
Yeah.
That when Sequatchie played Alcoa a couple of years ago, they actually came in and actually broadcast that game.
Mm-hmm.
But a lot of times they don't even have to pay to do it. We would do the playoff broadcast. I would love to do that, but the TWSA charges, and I'll be honest with you, the TWSA charges a lot of money. Like I think it's like $750 a game. Mm-hmm. If you have a deep playoff run, that will break your bank, especially for a small broadcast.
Yeah.
Thing.
If you want to see your team in there, you better donate.
Better donate or petition the TWSA. We'll take either one.
Make the checks payable to me.
To John, not to Chandler. This is the Playoffology. We've said this for the third time. I think we're finally going to get off here. By the way, you can find us on social media at JK Boston 1
73.
JK Boston 73.
Uh-huh.
All right. I'm at Sports Chandler. Chris is at Chris GoForce 1. You can find us at SCTM Preps. You can find us on Instagram. You can find us on Facebook, facebook.com/SCTM Preps. You can find us on, did I say Instagram too? I said Instagram too, I believe. You can find us on Instagram, SCTM Preps _podcast. I believe that's the way it's on there. You can also go to our website. You can find all our scores Friday night. If you want to see scores Friday night, go to our scoreboard. We keep them updated. Go to our Twitter page. We keep them rolling out. I mean, rolling out. So, see it, go find us there. Go find us on all those things. We're on YouTube as well. We're on IGTV. You can find this on there, and you can find this on Facebook as well. This is Playoffology. I'm Chandler Morrison. That's John Boston. We'll see ya.